welcome to Ivy Drips of Wisdom, a monthly podcast series where we feature nurse leaders, innovators, digital enthusiasts, and entrepreneurs to share their story and incredible journey of impact beyond the bedside. On today's episode, we sit with a remarkable nurse leader whose career spans nearly 4 decades in healthcare, from the bedside to leadership to behind the pen, and now as the founder of the unapologetically You Collective, where she mentors and coaches nurses, changemakers, and leaders to rise into their most authentic selves. Her story isn't about perfection, it's about possibility. It's a reminder that your story matters and that you're allowed to live, to lead, and to show up unapologetically as yourself. This is more than just another episode, it's wisdom dripping at its peak. So sit back and let's enjoy the ride. You've spent nearly 4 decades in healthcare and starting as a CNA at the age of 17. Now, when you look back, what moments stand out to you the most that has helped you, shaping you to become the nurse and the leader that you are today?
So I would say, because I was so young, being just 17 and becoming a CNA, a small nursing home where I lived, I think we had, I want to say we had 50 residents maybe. But again, like most long-term care, there's not enough staff. You have the whole floor, you could have 25 patients to yourself. And at that time, again, I'm 53, so take it back to when I was 17, so many years ago, if someone called in for the next shift, you had to stay. You didn't get to go home. So there was many days that I worked 16 hours at 17 years old, worked 16-hour shifts. And it was rough, and it was, at the time it was so frustrating because you're tired and you're thinking, oh God, I just did all these feeds, I just did all this bathing, and I just put them all to bed, and now here I got to do it all over and get them up, get them dressed, get them fed, and take care of these people. But in that time and spending that time with those residents, and elderly people, I learned so much. To sit with a veteran, who was in World War II, and to sit and listen to their stories, someone who's 100 years old, think what someone of 100 years old can tell you, being 17 years old, to think of the history lessons that I got, So, and spending those times with those patients, and then getting the feel for truly caring for patients and making sure that their needs are met. It wasn't about my needs, and that being frustrated because I had to work 16 hours. It was about meeting their needs. And because most of them didn't have family that came in to visit them. So you could be the only person that person ever sees, the staff is the only family that they have. So that, I think, really fueled how much I knew I wanted to be a nurse, and that it was where I needed to be, because I just loved these people so much. I just loved them. And it was ironic because I ended up in labor and delivery, and the DON who trained me then, her daughter, fast forward till I'm 26 years old, her daughter was one of the nurses in labor and delivery. So I not only was trained and mentored by her mom, fast forward to labor and delivery, working with her, I had the privilege of taking in all of her knowledge, but also knowing who her mom was and the knowledge that she had gotten from her mom that I also was able to receive. So sometimes it's about receiving, and then what you pay forward, I guess. So it's like, what's the chances that would come into fruition that many years ago, and I didn't know Linda outside of her. So it was like, oh my goodness. So I think that just being where I started really, really fueled to what I am now, and just how much I just love taking care of people. And
you've spoken about the breaking and the becoming that comes with the nursing career. Can you share when the system nearly broke you and how you were able to find your way back again into purpose?
The system broke me during COVID. That's definitely when it broke me. And again, we didn't know what we were dealing with. Everybody was afraid. People were dying around us. We were losing loved ones. And I feel that, again, that's where that break for me had to come, and what inspired me to start writing and to start speaking and becoming an author, because I just felt like so many stories had to be told and healing to others, like it has done me, and to where I've come so far and come out of my shell to where I'm advocating for others. I'm coaching. I'm mentoring. I'm writing. I co-authored my book with Ashley Scott, and she does incredible poetry, and she has come far. She started in the DM months ago. Her and I met in a DM on LinkedIn, and we just started talking, and it was, my encouragement to her to, girl, just do it. She's like, well, should I post this? Should I share this? Oh my God, yes, share it. Get it out there. Get it out there. It's marvelous. It's amazing. People need to see this. And look at her now. I mean, she's got her own business. She's got her own TikTok shop. She's got so much going on, and I am so, so, so very proud of her. So if I can say anything from my experience with doing that, just again, helping people find their voice and to break past the fear of failure, because you don't know until you try, right? We never know until we try something. So yeah, I would have to say that's probably the best example I have right now to say where I came from and what broke me and what brought me back. Yeah.
You're the founder of the Unapologetically You Collective. So what does it really mean to show up unapologetically, and why is it that's hard for many nurses?
I think, again, because so many environments have no psychological safety. There's always the fear of losing your job. There's always the fear of being reprimanded. There's always the fear of speaking up, and so many people are afraid to speak up. But again, if you sat at a table, say with 20 nurses, and had a conversation, and again, those a lot of times those conversations are really tough to have, and they're uncomfortable, and a lot of feelings get brought up, and a lot of anger gets brought up. But it's having those tough conversations that again promotes healing from the inside out. If you are healing and the people around you feel psychologically safe, and they feel that they can speak up, and they feel that they can be like, I'm not fine. I'm not okay. I need help. But to feel okay saying that's the tough part. That's where people, I think, struggle to get to that part, to speak up. But again, it's going to be having those tough conversations and letting people know that they are welcome to the table. Yeah, everybody has a seat at the table. I think you can't become a better unit if you're not cohesively working together, if you don't have one another's back, because you are with them, those people, most generally 10, 12 hours a day, so who better to be supportive and you're in the trenches with. I mean, there's days that are good, there's bad days. I would say, like, there's no bad days. I used to write that on the whiteboard. I used to write no bad days and draw palm trees and stuff when I lived in Michigan. Now that I'm in Florida, I don't have to draw palm trees anymore. But so I think that just being yourself, just being authentic and being real, and feeling that it's okay to speak up. It's okay to say I'm not okay. Exactly. And again, if you have questions about something, there's no shame in that. Just if you don't know something, you don't know, but you don't know unless you ask. So I think it's creating those environments where people feel safe to speak up, right? You have to feel safe to speak up. And then imagine the hum of that unit. Imagine the hum of that unit when everybody is on the same page, everybody's working together, and everybody is supporting one another. Imagine that. That for me is the dream. That for me, I believe, it is where everyone wants their units to be. They want their environments to be. Because if the unit's humming like that, the patients are safe, the patients are taken care of. Because if you have nurses who are checked out before they even check in, then your unit's falling apart. But it's, again, recognizing those things, recognizing those symptoms, and when someone's not doing okay, don't be afraid to say, hey, are you okay? What can I do for you? And sometimes a lot of women are single. They don't have someone to go home and to talk to and to vent to. So if you do see someone that's struggling, just simply say, hey, just a pat on a shoulder sometimes, just a touch on the shoulder. The human touch is an amazing thing, and I think that if we bring ourselves to being human again, because for whatever reason that's gone away, the whole act of being kind for whatever reason has went away, and that needs to come back. We need to bring that back. So I feel like that's where people need to feel unapologetically you. Just be you. Just collectively be you. Yeah. So
currently, many nurses feel invincible in the healthcare system that demands so much from them. What would you say to a nurse listening right now who feels unseen, unheard, or ready to quit?
To keep moving. And I think that's where you have that conversation. Tell me your why. Yeah. Bring them back to their why. Why did you become a nurse in the first place? Why did you start doing this in the first place? What in your career has changed that you feel like, again, like I said before, do I stay or do I go? where you feel like I just can't do it anymore. And 9 times out of 10, love, it's because nobody's listening. You know, they're afraid to speak up. They're afraid to ask for help, and nobody's listening. And sometimes you have to be listening without listening. That somebody is off. You know when something is just not right with somebody.
Yeah.
And again, sometimes it's just taking that moment to be like, hey, do you need to talk? Are you okay? Is there anything I can do for you? And again, bring them back to their why, and try to navigate for them. What can I do? What can I do to help you to find your way back? Where do you feel that you lost it? And what can I do to help you? And you have to be incredibly curious. You have to get curious. You have to, kind of dig deeper. And a lot of times there's tough conversations, but it's having those conversations in the first place that change the whole game. That change the whole game. And
Sure.
Is there one fix? No. Is it going to happen overnight? No, absolutely not. But again, it's giving them the courage, giving them the confidence, and knowing that someone's there and they're not alone. I think that's the biggest thing to try and help with burnout. And maybe it's this unit isn't for you anymore. Maybe you need to try something else. What else have you thought about? Like you and I were just talking about. What else lights you up? You want to be a runway model? I'm going to be a car salesman. This is not my fate. This is not my ending. This is just something else that lights me up. Because again, there's so many things as nurses that we can do. There's so many opportunities, and there's so many of us. Again, there's millions and bajillions of us. Forgot, it's just sucking the life out of us. Find a new path. There's nothing that says you cannot leave. There's nothing that says that you have to stay where you are until your dying days. Nothing. Boundary in life is this. If it dims your light, then it can't carry your fire. It will never carry your fire. How can it carry your fire if it dims your light? Right? Oh. There's a million things that we can do. You just have to find it. Again, what else lights you up? What else lights you up? If you weren't you wanted to be in say you wanted to work with ICU your whole life. You just love it. You've been there forever, but it is now sucking the life out of you. You've done it for 20 years. You're tired. You're tired of this. You're tired of that. Okay, change it. What else do you want to do? What else would you like to do? What other part of nursing do you think that you would like this next chapter to be? Because the book's not closed, right? There's another page. Turn the page. Turn the page. Next chapter. Moving on. And journal. Write stuff down. Write things. Keep like motivation and affirming yourself. If you have to write, I love myself on the mirror, and look at the mirror every morning when you get up, I love myself. Today is going to be a good day. If you have to have yourself a conversation in the morning, to remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing, or talk to yourself in regards to why I need to do something different. And sometimes it's just building and psyching yourself up to give yourself that affirmation and that courage, that boost. And then when someone else is giving you that same kind of guidance, what else would you want to do? What else would you love to do? Because life is an open book.
Your work has been published across respected platforms. How did writing become part of your healing and advocacy? And what advice would you give to a nurse who wants to use writing to amplify their voice? Because nursing has shown us how to write patient reports, to chart patients' medication and treatment plan. But how can a nurse use writing today to amplify their voice?
Just sit down like I did, and so many others have done, like you did. You just sit down and you do it, right? And, a thought comes and you think about things and you're like, oh, this really needs what? It was just, I need to write about this. Someone else, I'm not alone. I know that someone else has went through this, and, and writing my stories. And again, my stories have been, when I wrote, I think I wrote 5 articles for the Nursing Stars magazine. And one of them was clienteling, to talk about an experience that you had with the patient and from the eyes of the patient, and talking about that. So, that was cradling what might have been. And I did another article for the Journal of Emergency Nursing, and when the nurse couldn't heal herself. So that was my experience of being a nurse, but then becoming the patient, and what a horrible experience it was. And just that, again, writing it down, because I know I'm not the only one, but sometimes someone else reading it is like, me too. Maybe I should start writing. And for me, it's so therapeutic to put things into writing, and to tell stories, because there are so many other people that are influenced by that and are encouraged to do the same thing, because they're like, wow, I have so much to say. And it's not hard to do it. I mean, you just write the manuscript, And I thought Amazon was going to be really difficult, and it wasn't. So I had my manuscript in a Word document, and I just uploaded it to Amazon, KDP, published it, review it. You pick your cover.
Yes.
Boom, others, just do it. Just do it. Why did you do it? What made you do it? Those lived experiences that all of us have had. You don't even have to be a nurse to do some writing, but it's all of those experiences that you just put down on paper. It's going to catch somebody's eye.
Yes.
There's so much to be said. We've all experienced so much in our lives. And so to encourage people to write, just do it. Don't be afraid, just do it. And I tell people, if you like it, you like it. If you hate it, you hate it. I would love the feedback though. I would love to know. But my hope is that by writing that it's helped someone.
Yes.
Someone took something away from my writing. It impacted them somehow, some way, to where they told their friends, they felt good about it. And that just encourages me to write more. So I'm still writing. I'm working. Actually, I'm probably going to do a part 2.
If our listeners are to walk away with just one message from your story and your experience, what would that be? It can be a philosophy, a mantra, or a principle that you live by. What would that be?
Be absolutely yourself. Never be afraid. Never be afraid to speak up. Never be afraid to point out when something's wrong. And never be afraid to ask for help. Never be afraid to ask for help. There's so many of us, and there's so much support out there. Please just never be afraid to ask. That's probably one of the biggest things that I would say. There's so many of us. There's so much support, and it's such a beautiful profession. It really, really is. And I feel like it's just never be afraid to ask. Never shrink. Don't shrink for anybody. Never shrink for anybody. Never shrink for anybody. Always be yourself. Always be yourself. Never apologize for being who you are. Your behavior now, that's a different story. And you're being just a human being. Always be a human being. Always be kind. Happiness is contagious and kindness is free. It's just that simple. So
Kimberly's message is simple. Don't wait for permission to be seen, heard, or valued. Step forward now and speak up, because the legacy of nursing will be written by those who refuse to shrink. If this episode sparked something in you, don't silence it. Share it, or even better, come tell your own story on the next episode of Ivy Drips of Wisdom. Until I come your way again on the next episode, just be you, and don't forget to show up unapologetically.